Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it is September 17th, just about 11 o'clock, and I'm out here to conduct a routine inspection and feed the bees if they need it. The last inspection I conducted was September 4th, so it's been the better part of 13 days, which is also the longest I've gone from getting into the hive since I've returned home early July. So anyway, let's get into the hives. Let's see how they're doing. I got a few ideas for today. So we do have goldenrod blooming in the area. I imagine that is what the bees are bringing in on their pollen baskets. I know you can't really see this too well, but the hives in the third and the fourth position don't have as much activity as the rest. This hive down here that I've showcased in the last few videos, the very last hive, ton of activity. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they look like this week. But yeah, hives 3 and 4, or the hives in the third and the fourth position, not as much activity as the rest. I did come out here yesterday and it was the same thing, so I'm curious to see how they're doing. If my memory serves me right, one of those two hives, they were doing an excellent job at storing the sugar water and maybe some natural resources that I provided, but they might have been doing too well of a job. And if you don't know what I mean, that is called honey bound, to where they're storing a lot of the provided food or natural resources down in the brood chamber, typically where the queen would lay eggs and the bees would rear brood, which causes its own problems. So that's why I said I'll feed them I'll feed them this week if they need it as necessary. But if they still have a lot of food stores down in the brood chamber, especially the center of the brood chamber where typically brood should be, I might not feed them, and or I might open up quite a few hives and move some frames around to get them healthy and give them a boost as we enter the fall. Speaking of, temperatures this morning were in the mid to high 50s here in Jacksonville, and currently it's in the low 70s. It feels extremely nice, way better than about a month ago when this time of day it was already in the 90s, mid 90s, and with the heat index it was already approaching 104 degrees just shy of noon. But yeah, that's it. A little bit of a longer introduction than usual, but I really just wanted to explain a few things that I'll be doing today. So let's get into the hives and see how they're looking for another weekly inspection. All right, now that I have my hood on, let's take a closer look at the hive entrances to show you what I'm talking about. So this is the hive in the first position. No real concerns with them. This hive, actually, now that I'm closer, which is a 6, so in the second position, 2, 3, and 4, those are the ones that I was talking about in the introduction video. So this is the hive in the third position. Hive in the fourth position is not as bad as I thought from looking from the other spot in the bee yard, but then you can see the difference here. More bees on the entrance. This is the hive in the fifth position, and then this one here, which is also the only one with 2 mediums. This one is always busy. That's just an empty nuke. And then the hive in the very last position, that newer queen from the last month or two, marked her probably about the same time frame, but they are definitely building up. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get into the hives and see how they're doing. All right, I just gave them some smoke, so let's take the top off and see how they're doing. I think this is the hive. It's a hive beetle. 2 hive beetles. That I found the queen on the bottom of the inner cover, but not today. Yeah, check this out for a first look. Look at the concentration, if you can see that, of the bees between the frames. Looks like they've built out the center frames a lot more than the last time I was in them. I'm just going to start looking through them routine inspection and see how they're doing. Check this out. That is the 4th frame. Look at that capped honey or sugar water. It's hard to tell. Same on this side. The 3rd frame that I didn't show you did have some brood on it, so the queen is moved up into the top box. We'll see how the rest of the frames are looking here in a second. All right, well, that didn't take long. This is the very next frame, frame number 5. There's a whole bunch of open cells. In fact, most of this side of the frame is open, and immediately I can see eggs. So they're still queen right. And in fact, as soon as I turned the frame over, there she is. Hopefully you can see her. Nice yellow dot. And she is 100% up in the top box. Okay, so that does it for this inspection. I'm just gonna put the frames back, get into the bottom box, and top them off with some feed. All right, well, that does it for the hive in the very first position. So you can see just how quick and easy inspections can be. Let's hope the rest of the hives go that well. All right, quick look so far at the hive in the second position. This is the first hive with a hive top feeder. I've already removed 2 frames and looked at the 3rd one. But just to show you what I'm looking at and what I'm concerned with, the bees aren't really doing any work up in the top box here. They might have something going on maybe 2 frames, but I'm thinking, based off what I'm seeing right now, removing this top box and just running them as a single deep. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So the last few frames, this is frame 7 or 8, they're storing some sugar water, capping it into some honey, whether that's from the sugar water I provided or natural resources, but not much going on at all in this top box. So I'm actually going to pull them, and there's not a lot of bees in here too. I'm going to remove this box, set it aside, and I might add it to the very last box, depending how they're looking, which, judging by the front porch activity, they're looking a lot better. But I still need to get into the bottom box, figure out if this is one of the hives that had created a honey bound situation, and just kind of see what that looks like. Quick initial look at the bottom box. Outside frames, typical, not much going on. Pretty good concentration of bees right here. I'm really just concerned whether or not they have space for the queen to lay eggs, whether or not I created a honey bound situation. But given that they're not using the top box much at all, I'm assuming they have space, but let's take a look and figure that out here. All right, I'm on the 4th frame, the very first frame that I set aside right there. Very nice honey stores. Same thing with the 3rd frame. And this is the 4th frame. As you can see, some brood. I'm trying to see if this will come up on camera. Right there in the center, if the GoPro will focus. I don't think it's focusing. Very new bee hatching. And then the other side, some brood. Ton of larvae right there. I'm looking for eggs. Might need my flashlight, but they're actually looking better than I thought they would be. And there's the queen right there. Hopefully you can see her. So yeah, they're actually looking better than I thought. She's making good use of the space. Let's see if we can cage her real quick, just so I can move through the rest of the colony and put everything back, knowing she's in a safe place. She keeps going back and forth. Give her a second. They're quick. Alright, we got the queen caged. So I'm just going to check the rest of the frames, which is only 2 more, and see how they're looking. Alright, as you saw, cage the queen, move through the rest of the frames. She's definitely favoring the last 3 to 4 frames. Let's get her released. I have made the decision to reduce them down to a single deep, so I will not put the medium box back on. Maybe give them a week or 2. There's a ton of brood that's going to hatch in the next 2 weeks. So if I see an increase of activity and population and determine next time they need space, I'll re-add that medium box. But yeah, let's get her out of here. There she goes. And back down into the colony. Alright, that does it for this one. Pretty good inspection, didn't take too long. They're looking better than I thought, so all good things. You know, as I was getting into the very next box, I thought about a few things. One, the goldenrod bloom is about to really be in full effect. And 2, for the hive in the second position here, even though they're not using the space right now, it's not causing any issues. So in fact, I'm going to re-add the medium box to this hive, because with the amount of brood that I saw that's going to hatch in the next 2 weeks, they might actually need the space. And I'm also hoping with the fall nectar flow that's about to kick in, that extra resource of food will help the queen expand into the top box, which I've done over the last few years, running the deeps with a medium for overwintering purposes, and it seems to work out. So I just wanted to share that, kind of an afterthought as I was getting into the next hive. So I'm going to add that box real quick. All right, medium box is back on the hive in the second position. Let's take a quick look at the top box of the hive in the third position. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a nice concentration of bees right in the center. Outside frames look kind of empty, which is fine, but pretty curious to see what these bees are doing in the center frames here. Alright, so I'm looking at the 5th frame. Just noticed that queen cup doesn't have an egg in it. But yeah, this is what the bees are up to. They are packing away some resources. Again, whether that's sugar water or natural resources, I can't determine, because I do not add food color to my sugar water, even though it's something that I've thought about doing for years now, and I forget every single time I make it. But check that out. They're doing a nice job. Alright, first look at the bottom box of the hive in the third position. I bet you the queen's right here somewhere. Alright, because I have an in-hive feeder, this hive is ran as an 8 frame. So I'm on the 4th frame, and hopefully you can see her. There's the queen right there. Her marking's starting to wear off. Darker queen too. I'm gonna cage her just so I can move through the rest of the colony, knowing she's in a safe place. But the brood's not looking the best so far, which is why I'm gonna actually look at all the frames and figure out if they need some help. Alright, managed to cage the queen, look through all of the frames, and a few things come to mind. So judging by how the brood pattern looks, which is not great, and the amount of food they're storing in combination with the amount of queen cups the bees are creating, I would not be surprised if this colony tries to replace that queen in the next month or so. So I'm just going to let nature take its course, and they know what's best. However, because of the amount of food that is stored throughout the frames, I'm not going to be feeding them this week. So this is, yeah, the hive in the third position, which the front entrance looks less busy than the other colonies. So my suspicions, I believe, were correct. They have created a bit of a honey-bound situation, so I'm not going to feed them. If they get any natural resources this week or in the next 2 weeks, that's great, but I'm going to try to not further complicate things for them. And we'll see how they're looking in another 2 weeks or so. Alright, let's get her released, put everything back together, and move on to the next colony. There she is. goes right there. Smaller queen, but she's trying. Down here in the hive in the 4th position, just took off the top hive feeder. This is the 2nd hive that has that kind of feeder. Check this out. Very excited to look at this frame. If you can't see that, that is some nice new wax. So maybe they're doing a good job with what's in bloom right now, but I'm gonna go through them, full inspection, and show you what I find. All right, this is that frame I was eager to look at, and that is beautiful. Check out that very light cappings, or the color of the cappings. Nice fresh pollen, nice new wax, nice bright colored wax. Not to mention the queen is doing a fantastic job, having moved up into the top box now. So this colony is looking pretty good. All right, continuing with today's theme of first looks into the bottom boxes. First look at the bottom box of hive number 4. Check out all that bridge comb. But yeah, it's a nice concentration of bees right there between these frames. I'm gonna go through them, see what we're looking at. Look at this, 3rd frame. Ton of capped brood. Larva over there to your left. Look at that side. Same thing. This hive's definitely looking pretty healthy so far. And there she is, right there at the bottom. Frame number 5. Big queen. She's looking good. Let's get her caged so I can look through the rest of the colony, knowing she's in a safe spot. All right, there we go. It's that simple. I mean, this queen has figured it out. So has the colony. It's just frame and frame and frame of solid brood. All right, this hive is looking fantastic. Let's get her released. I'll put the top hive feeder back on and top them off with some sugar water. They are making excellent work of the provided feed and natural resources in the area. So this is 1, 2, 3, the hive in the 4th position, looking absolutely great. All right, down here at the hive in the 5th position, I'll just crack the top cover loose. Okay, that's what I like to see. Just gave him some smoke too. Let's pull the covers off and see how the top box is looking. All right, I don't know if you can tell or not, but there are a decent amount of bees in the top box, to include on the bottom side of the inner cover and the bottom side of the top cover. So, same as all the hives this week, I'm going through every single frame to take a look at them, see how they're doing. All right, here's a look at frame 4. I don't know if you can see that or not, but aside from the capped honey, they are definitely storing some food. Same thing on the previous frame, so that'd be frame 3. And it looks like, what is this, 5? Frame 5, it's got some nice weight to it. Yeah, capped honey, a lot of food stores on both sides. So whether that's the sugar water or natural resources, now that we have a fall flow going, this colony's doing a good job of creating some food stores for the winter. All right, first look into the bottom box of the hive in the 5th position. They definitely have a healthy amount of bees. Also the most active so far, so we'll see what that means, if anything, once I go through the frames. Quick look at this very 2nd frame. Nice brood. Same thing on the next frame, if that comes up on camera or not. All right, just finished up the hive in the 5th position. Topped off their 1 gallon division board feeder with some sugar water. No signs of the queen. Well, let me take that back. I didn't find the queen, but they are looking fantastic. So far, best looking hive as far as colony health goes. Frames and frames and frames of solid brood, nice larvae that should be capped in the next week. So this colony's population should increase tenfold in the next 2 weeks or so. So definitely a hive to pay attention to. That's the one in the very 5th position. All right, this is hive number 6, which is actually in the 6th position. I just gave them a bunch of smoke. You can hear that. They are a little agitated. So my thoughts with this colony, I may have said this in the introduction or not. I've ran them as a double, I was going to say double deep. I ran them as a deep with 2 mediums for quite a while. The top box, having looked in it briefly, I'm going to go frame by frame just like all the colonies. But having briefly looked at it, it doesn't look like there's much going on. And I'm willing to bet number 7 here needs some space based off the front porch activity. So regardless, I'm going to go through all the frames, figure out if the bees are not working these frames as much as I would like. Probably going to pull the top box and then see how the rest of the colony is looking, of course. All right, pretty much what I was thinking just by glancing down in the box. Most of the frames look like this. There's bees on it. They're working it a little bit. I don't know if that's going to come up. There's some nectar in there, but really not a lot of activity. And I'm willing to bet this box is pretty light. So I'm going to pull it, set it aside, and most likely do what I said, add it to number 7. All right, first look at the bottom medium that sits directly on top of the deep box. And this is what I really want to see when I look down into the boxes. More of a concentration of bees. So I'm willing to bet the queen's moved up here and we're about to find some brood in the top medium box, or actually the bottom medium box. Well, I'm not right all the time. This is the very 5th frame, so right in the middle. You can see a lot more bees working this and some very nice nectar food stores right there. And that was the case with the previous frame as well. So definitely using the first medium box more so than the top medium box. All right, first look in the bottom box. Good Lord. This looks like a springtime colony. A ton of bees. So this should be fun. Definitely gonna put my smoker to use. So far they're calm, but I have a feeling that'll change here soon. All right, I pulled the very first frame, and what I want to show y'all, that is the most drone brood I have found in any colony. So hopefully they haven't swarmed, and hopefully I don't find, same on this side. Look at the drone brood there up top. Hopefully I don't find any mature queen cells, but it is what it is. So very first frame, got 7 more to go. All right, just finished up with hive number 6. They are looking great. So 5 and 6, probably the best 2 hives that I have right now. Frames upon frames, a solid brood, larva that should be capped in the next week. Both populations should be expanding a lot in the next week or 2. So 2 hives definitely to take into consideration if I plan on making any splits. Probably next week, definitely before October, which sounds kind of risky as I say it. So we'll see, play it by ear and kind of see how the weather's looking over the next few weeks. All right, down here at number 7, a lot more activity on the front than the last few weeks. And what I see as soon as I open this hive up does not surprise me. These bees have been extremely calm ever since I've moved them over into the yard. Probably calm before that, but all right. Last inspection, I'm gonna go through all the frames. Maybe I'll find the queen. It's pretty successful up until 5 and 6. I didn't find the queen in either one of those colonies, but the first 4, I believe, I caged all the queens. And little does number 7 know, but they're about to get an addition, and I'm thinking I might actually add that top hive feeder to this colony too, to really give them a boost. But it's kind of put in the cart in front of the horse. Let's take a look at the colony and see how they're looking first. Almost forgot to give you all a first look because it has a ventilated inner cover, but if you can see that or not, there are a ton of bees in between these frames. So I'm thinking and hoping they are doing just as well as they have in the last few inspections. All right, just pulled the 5th frame and check her out. By far probably one of the nicest queens that I have. All right, just finishing a few things up with number 7. 2 more frames to go. Found the queen on, I think, frame 5 or so. Got her caged up. Let's take a look at the last 2 frames. This hive is just looking great, so I'm definitely gonna top off their feeder, and like I said, I might put that top feeder on them as well and just really give them a boost in food, hoping that'll just ramp up the queen's brood production and really get this colony built up. All right, let's get hive number 7's queen released. By far, probably the nicest queen that I have as far as look, size, health. All right, Sherry went down in there. Yeah, so I decided to give number 7 a boost, topped them off with a gallon of feed down in the bottom box, but I'm also going to put on the top hive feeder and probably give them another gallon. So based off of how they're doing, the added space, hopefully this helps them really make a boost in population. All right, well, hey, that does it for me today. Another good inspection. They're all queen right. All the colonies are looking good. I do have concerns for, I think, just one, which is the colony in the 3rd or 4th position. I'd have to go back and look at the videos again, but yeah, number 7, as y'all saw, that's what I finished up with. They got some extra space with the medium box and some extra food or feed with the top hive feeder. 6 and 5, they are definitely the strongest, healthiest and strongest. Number 1 actually looked a lot better than I thought they would based off the front porch activity, but I'd say probably 2, 3, and 4 right here are the ones I just have to keep a closer eye on. But yeah, hey, that does it for me. Mid-September inspection. Probably do another one towards the end of the month. But I really appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Feel free to share our videos or our channel with your friends and family and ask them to subscribe as well. Our subscribers are slowly increasing, but it's at a snail's pace. Truly doesn't matter. We don't make any money off this channel. We really just share our videos and other things regarding beekeeping, just to share our passion and how we keep bees. Appreciate everybody's comments. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section, and I will see y'all in about 2 weeks towards the end of September. Thanks for watching, everybody.